more to the United States than we import. And if we're not able to travel to the United States, we're not able to get our economy up and running again. So this is really critical for the UK. And what we want to see as a start is an air bridge with New York. That's the most important single market within the United States. We could get it up and running within a few weeks if the government, the UK and the US, get a move on with this. That would allow us to save thousands of jobs within the UK, but also show that we are genuinely an outward-looking trading nation as we leave the EU.
And has there been a response from the government to your idea of the traveller funding the test, him or herself?
Well, we still hear the government talking about testing being no silver bullet. Now, we're not calling for anything different to what is currently happening for the NHS. A test on arrival, a test on
exit the roundabout onto the parkway.
Of quarantine, that would be enough to get the business travel market moving again. Now, it's not perfect. It's not as good as we had before COVID, but it is better.
Continue on the parkway for 1 mile.
To make sure that we can get the economy moving, saving thousands of jobs in the territory without adding to the health bill.
Good speaking with you again, John. Look after yourself. Best of luck to you and all your colleagues. John Holland-Case, Chief Executive of Heathrow Airport. Right, coming up after the news, we'll come back to your reactions. John, I'll take your call, but let's do it outside of news to give you a fair run at it. And then later in the show, if your sons or daughters are just travelling off to school, perhaps they are in GCSE or A-level years, well, hang on. Those exams could be scrapped next year. More on that coming up. 7:30, this is Breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari here on LBC. Let's get the news from Simon Conway.
Professor Chris Whitty will lead a briefing later where he'll warn the UK is heading in the wrong direction in its fight against COVID-19. With cases continuing to rise, England's chief medical officer says the country has reached a critical point in the pandemic. The Shadow Chancellor has told us the government shouldn't rule out bringing in the military to help support the struggling test and trace system. Annalise Dodds says ministers should be looking at all the options and be open about the problems. The Department for Transport has announced emergency measures which were introduced to keep trains running after the pandemic have now been extended. The state has taken on franchise holders' revenue and cost risks since March at a cost to taxpayers of at least £3.5 billion. The weather dry for most with plenty of warm sunshine, turning cloudier and windier for parts of northern and western Scotland with some rain later, a high of 23 degrees.
This is LBC. How much money will you get when you sell your car?
7,000.
8,000.
8,500.
£9,000. Wouldn't it be great if you could see offers from online buyers and specialist car dealers all in one place? Motorway.co.uk is the comparison site to sell your car. With Motorway, it's easy to compare offers and find your best deal. You could get up to £1,000 more. Go to motorway.co.uk, the easy way to sell your car for more.
Motorway.co.uk. Hear that? That's the sound of Mia zooming down the bus lane in a free now black cab. And that's her breezing to the station in one of thousands of free now private hire vehicles in London. Black cab, private hire vehicle. Black cab, private hire. Black cab, private hire. See, with black cabs and private hire vehicles together on ride-hailing app Free Now, you're in control to get there faster. So however you roll, download Free Now and get 50% off your first ride with code TAXI. Terms and conditions apply.
This year, I want to do less and more. Smoking attacks our lungs and makes it harder to breathe. Each cigarette fills our lungs with toxins that harm the immune system. This leaves us more vulnerable to infections. This year's been the wake-up call I needed. If you quit smoking for 28 days, you're up to 5 times more likely to quit for good. So for support to quit smoking and to download the free app, search Stoptober. And breathe. Better health. Let's do this.
Buy the latest iPhone from Vodafone. And thanks to our annual upgrade promise, you can then get the latest iPhone every year with no upgrade fees. Yeah, you heard it right. It's simple. Trade in your iPhone after 12 months when you get a new plan, and you can enjoy that new iPhone feeling every year. It's a great time to switch to Vodafone. Ready? Vodafone.
Upgrade up to 12 months, current contract will end, and your 24-month term upfront and monthly cost will apply. Terms and exclusions at vodafone.co.uk.
Heroes. They're the ones we turn to in our darkest hour. Like when you blow a fuse.
In a quarter of a mile at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit and stay on the parkway A312.
Every job completed by an expert tradesperson comes with a 12-month British Gas guarantee when you pay online. So if it needs fixing, there's a local hero for that. To get a quote, search Local Heroes. Terms and conditions apply. 0345 6060 973.
7:34. John, you're on the radio in just a few minutes' time. Let's dive into the world of business and finance. So welcome to the show, Aquis Exchange commentator David Buick. And first racing, David, with one of your...
Exit the roundabout onto the parkway.
Yeah, good morning to you, Nick.
Continue on A312 for 1.5 miles.
6 weeks ago, Donald Trump was absolutely adamant that this app owned by the Chinese was not for the United States of America. You have 90 days to sort it out. This looked like it was going to be absolutely impossible. Therefore, we saw initially Microsoft in a joint venture with Walmart deciding that they would like to take it on board. Clearly, this didn't work in terms of how it should be done. And there comes Larry Ellison, great supporter of Donald Trump, chairman of Oracle, and they put together a deal. And the United States president has expressed his approval of a deal that would allow the Chinese-owned video sharing app to remain with its operations in the United States.
All right, front page of the FT. Mr. Sunak getting out his checkbook again?
Looks that way. We are obviously in a very parlous state, and when you hear the kind of rhetoric that we're going to hear from Professor Whitty this morning at 11 o'clock, it looks like the situation is gathering pace, and he's of course being attended by Sir Patrick Vallance. Rishi Sunak is obviously in a position where he knows, having fought, as we understand, over whether the economy should be shut, that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, is likely to extend several loan schemes, which total about £53 billion. I think what's going to happen, because they're going to extend these month by month, because we can't just have a sort of permanent handout. But as was expressed in the Sunday Times over the weekend, if you just look at the US-UK hospitality sector, I mean, that could, without help, be 900,000 jobs to the wall. And this is extremely important that consideration is given to these companies to allow them the chance to recover. And I just hope that we do not even countenance a total shutdown of any shape, size, and description. I know it's not my place, but will you allow me to indulge me? I do wish Mayor Khan would just get on with running London and not trying to throw a pebble into the water to muddy it. We do not need his input. Look after London. We need to get on with our lives.
Someone else who needs to get on and turn things around is HSBC.
Well, this is a real surprise in a way, because it comes in the wake of what happened in 2012, when the United States authorities fined the HSBC Bank £1.92 billion for money laundering with basic countries like Libya and Peru and various other things. And here we go again. There's another supposed Ponzi scheme. Stuart Gulliver was then the chief executive, and David Bagley was the head of compliance, and he was hosed out as a result of it. So we've got here supposedly a situation where $80 billion has been leaked around the world, out of basically the United States. And this is not going to go down at all well with the US banking authorities or with the US authorities. These are allegations, and I have to stress this, and it is looking not at all good. The share price in Hong Kong drifted down 4%. HSBC's share price this year, which is not down to this alone, all banks in the UK, is down 50% since the beginning of the year.
Talk again in a little under an hour's time, David Buick.
This is LBC. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
7:38. Someone who has called that number is John in Hackney. John, your concerns about testing and also possible, of course, restrictions or more lockdowns. Good morning.
Well, mate, I agree with you completely. You can't have another lockdown. We had one for 6 weeks during that period from March the 23rd. None of it works. We're listening to directions. If these people, these experts, were directors to show you around the streets, the amount of times they've sent you the wrong way, you wouldn't listen to a word they were saying. You know, everything they've said, they've got wrong. They haven't got anything right. If they've got something right, I'd like to know what it is. They no mask, wear a mask. It's all the same. Test and trace. Now, we've got a test and trace situation. Your previous speaker that was speaking about airport, he should be running the show, because he's got it in one, because that's where it's all come from in the beginning. We had 85% of the people socially isolating themselves, which should have cured it over 6 weeks, bigger-wise. But no, we had 100 people a day coming in from New York, Milan...
In 200 yards, turn right onto Rosslyn Avenue.
Coming through like a watering can with holes in it.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the situation now. This can't work. And you know,
are you fortunate enough to be in? Have you been able to work through this, John, or were you furloughed?
I'm I'm 69, I've got a blood clot in the lung, and I mucked up this little word they're saying. Then, you know,
Turn right onto Rosslyn Avenue, then turn left onto Harlington Road West.
Took the park, checked out all the summer.
Yes.
I've lived all my life. These parks have never been protected. Have some pet with people. Sometimes listen to all words that been said. Like the situation now. You know, I personally don't know anyone that's had it. You know, but obviously there's people dying of it. But where's all the people that had sepsis last year, 48,000? Where's all the flu victims?
Yeah.
Well, you know, all these figures have all got jumbled up in the mixer.
I think that's a fair point on that, John. Thank
Turn
you for
left
that.
onto
We'll look
Harlington
after
Road
yourself
West,
with
then
that
your
last one.
destination will be on the right.
Carry on.